बहुत ही तजर्बेकार और सुलझे हुए मॉर्गेज ब्रोकर जनाब रंजीत धालीवाल जी आज हमारे साथ हैं, जिनसे मेरी बातचीत हो रही है। आपने कभी भी कोई भी मॉर्गेज लेनी हो या रीफाइनेंसिंग करवानी हो, इनसे अपॉइंटमेंट बनाकर मिलेंगे तो आपका हज़ारों डॉलर का फ़ायदा हो सकता है। रंजीत धालीवाल जी का टेलीफोन नंबर आप नोट कर लें, 4169927265, 4169927265। कमर्शियल ब्रेक से पहले रंजीत जी, जैसे आपने चेंजेस के बारे में बताया, मॉर्गेज इंडस्ट्री की चेंजेस के बारे में, तो क्या इससे ये अंदाज़ा हम लगाएं कि जो सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड लोग हैं उनको मॉर्गेज नहीं मिलेगी?
Again, there's a lot of confusion about some of these changes, and one of the confusion is that people think that those who are self-employed will not be able to get mortgages. That is not true. Now, it is true that the self-employed individuals are going to have to start showing some income, whereas before they never did. They paid maybe a little bit extra on the insurance premium, and they got approved with as little as 5% down payment. Well, now, under the new rules, first of all, self-employed individuals are required to put 10% down payment. And secondly, obviously, they have to have good credit. And if they have been self-employed for more than 3 years, then they can't use stated income program where they just state this is how much I make and they don't have to prove that much. They actually have to show exactly whatever the income it is that they show. Now, the interesting thing is an experienced mortgage broker should be able to help them a lot, because if they have been claiming things like a home office expense, they've been deducting their car out of their taxes and things like that, a good mortgage broker should be able to do what we call add back. So meaning add back all this stuff to their income and then still be able to qualify them. But if the income is not there, they're not going to be able to get away just like they used to. That is one thing. And the other confusion I must address here as well is that people think that you need to come up with 20% down payment to qualify for mortgages these days. Nothing can be further from the truth, because even now, under the new rules, you can still qualify for a zero down mortgage.
Really?
Yes. Oh. You can still do zero down mortgage. The only thing is you just got to make sure that your credit score is good. Your credit score has got to be over 680, and your income has got to be decent to be able to afford this mortgage. But what you're going to get is you're actually going to get free down payment from a lender. Uh-huh. We have lenders that offer free down payment mortgages. Essentially, it's a cashback. So you have to pay posted rates of 6.1% on a 5-year fixed rate mortgage. You can't take a variable in that case. You got to take the fixed rate, and the bank will give you 5% cashback to put towards your down payment. So you can do zero down. You can even do 5% down payment. You can do 10% obviously down payment. But the confusion that you can't get mortgages without 20% down payment, that's a myth. That is wrong. And all kinds of people can get all kinds of mortgages. Even self-employed borrowers who are not showing enough income, they've been self-employed for more than 3 years, we can still get them up to 90% mortgages through a mortgage broker. Keep that in mind. So if you are in any of these categories, or if you're not even sure, it is much better to go to contact a mortgage broker than to try to go directly to a bank. Because, sir, what happens when people go to a bank is the individual sitting there taking the application, unfortunately, they're not as equipped as a mortgage broker is, who understands everything, who understands that this is the application that we got to put in, and that we may have to it depends where we submit the application, under which program, in order to get this application approved. And so the broker will be able to massage the application, do all kinds of stuff to get you approved. Whereas if you go to a bank directly, and if they input that information and then it gets locked at CMHC and you're trying to change that information, you're going to have a lot of difficulty. What kind of information I'm talking about? Let's say you're buying a rental property and then you went to the banker and you said you're going to get rent of $1,500. Meanwhile, actual market rents are higher in that area. If you're trying to change that afterwards, it'll show up as information mismatch, and you're not going to be you're going to have to do a lot more proving that is this a rent and so on. Whereas if it was inputted correctly the first time, your chances of getting that approval is just tremendously higher. So the industry has changed. It is going to be tougher for some people to get approved. At the same time, it won't make any difference for a lot of the other individuals. And most likely, that'll be about 80-85% of the population out there. You don't have to worry about any of these changes.
All right. आजकल जैसे स्टॉक मार्केट ऊपर जा रही है, रंजीत जी, आप क्या सलाह देंगे, क्या एडवाइस देंगे कनेडियन इन्वेस्टर्स को?
Great point. We haven't talked about the equity markets in a long time. For our listeners, I want to remind you that I am a licensed financial advisor, and I do manage investments, literally millions of dollars for a lot of my, for hundreds of my investor clients. I just don't come out here in this forum and talk about it because a lot of times people, it's the first time home buyer, somebody who's just getting into the industry. They're concerned about that type of stuff more than they are about investments. However, when it does come
बेशक आप बताते नहीं हैं रेडियो के ऊपर,
yes,
लेकिन मैं हर बार आपका नया सूट देखकर अंदाजा लगा रहा था कि आप इस काम में भी माहिर हैं.
That's an interesting point. What? It's always the financial advisors that are wearing the cufflinks and so on and everything.
Of course.
Well, I think they started taking those off over the last 2-3 years. The market has been tough. In fact, the last 10 years, the S&P 500 is still down over the last 10 years, which is crazy. Now, so you asked about investments, and the sad part is that majority of Canadians keep their investments with their bank. And the banks just do not rebalance, even at critical periods like this. Right now, we are at absolute critical period. Yes, the markets have been doing very well. I always refer to the bond market. Bond market's always a leading indicator of what's going to happen to the equity markets. In other words, the bond market knows. Why do they know? Because they're the people with the big bucks. They're the ones with the billions and literally hundreds of billions of dollars to invest on a daily basis. And most of them are participating in the bond market. And so an interesting thing happens in the bond market when the interest rates start to go up. When the interest rates start to go up, people are no longer interested in the bonds that they have already bought. They are already priced and so on. Maybe these bonds were, as you remember, at one point during the credit crunch, there was a negative interest rate on the bonds, on the U.S. Treasuries.
जी.
Right? So in order for you to hold those treasury, you would have had to pay the government, which was absolutely ridiculous. Never seen anything like that. And so the bonds are really the bonds that are already denominated. They're already in people's hands. They're carrying extremely low interest rates. So maybe 1%, 1.5%, 2%, less than 2 definitely. And so what happens is in an environment when the interest rates start to go up, the value of those bonds, it just kind of disappears. Because who wants a 2% interest rate bond right now when you can get a 4%, 5% bond, right? So what happens is the values of those bonds go down. It is predicted that for every 0.5 percentage point rise in the Bank of Canada rate, that these bond portfolios will lose 7% in value.
I see.
Literally. So those individuals that are holding their portfolios at a bank who never does any rebalancing, they're not going to call you or anything. Send me a copy of your portfolios and I'll give you a free second opinion. There's no charge for my services. Even if you decide to move the portfolio over to me, there's no charges whatsoever. If there are any fees that you're being charged to move your portfolio, we will even rebate those for, again, anybody that calls me today. Whoever calls me and leaves me their contact information at 416-992-7265. That's 416-992-7265. Call me, leave me your contact details. I'll give you a free second opinion on your portfolios, as well as I will rebate any fees when you're transferring your portfolio. But seriously, you need to do something about it. If you're listening to this show right now, all you have to do is just call this number and we will start the whole process for you. Call the number, leave your contact detail, 416-992-7265. But you do need to do something about your portfolios right now. A significant time to be rebalancing your portfolios.
All right. रंजीत जी, अगर कोई RRSP के बारे में या अपनी नॉन रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में आपसे सेकंड ओपिनियन लेना चाहे, डू यू चार्ज देम?
No charges. No charges for my initial consultation. No charges for any of this. And in fact, we're giving individuals right now, whoever calls us today, who wants a second opinion on their portfolios, whether it's RSPs, RESPs, TFSAs, or a non-registered leverage portfolio or simple portfolio. Give me a call. I'll give you a second opinion. No charges for that. And if there are any fees to move the portfolio, should you wish to move, and we will also rebate those for anybody that calls today.
हमारे पास थोड़ा सा समय और है. आज के प्रोग्राम में आप रेंट टू ओन या लीज टू ओन के बारे में भी बताना चाहेंगे?
Rent to own, lease to own options are getting very, very popular amongst investors who want to participate in the real estate market when the prices have obviously been going up and the interest rates are starting to go up. There's not much cash flow left in the property, so this is a great way to participate in investing in the rental real estate market. It's also great for individuals who want their own home, but they can't get it because either under the the new rules, it's much tighter, or because their credit, they've got credit issues or income issues. So rent-to-own option is a great opportunity for people with bad credit to buy a home, and for investors to make a little bit extra money than what they would by just buying an investment property.
All right. आखिर में अपना आज का स्पेशल एक बार फिर से बता दें.
Well, we got two specials. One is free legal fees if you want to refinance your mortgage. Anybody that contacts me today at 416-992-7265. And also free second opinions for anybody who wants me to take a look at their investment portfolios. Again, call me at 416-992-7265. And also anybody that calls today, and should you wish to transfer that portfolio, should you want me to manage this, sometimes there might be fees from your existing institution. If there are, we will rebate all those fees for you, for anybody that calls today.
Oh, you are really in a good giving mood today.
Might as well.
That's very good.
Summertime is good time.
All right. Ranjit, you are doing great service to the community, giving them excellent service. Keep it up. We are proud of you. अपना टेलीफोन एक बार फिर से दे दें.
Thank you very much, sir. You can contact me anytime directly at 416-992-7265. And I hope everyone has a great and profitable week.
Thank you, sir.